1:35 a.m. A man and a woman are in discussion at the entrance of church passage.
1:35 a.m. A man and a woman are arguing at the entrance of church passage. The man came from Aldgate.
1:42 a.m. PC Harvey arrives in Mitre Square.
1:42 a.m. PC Harvey arrives in Mitre Square. It should be noted, Watson, that the constable didn't enter Mitre Square. He could not have seen the corpse lying on the ground. But would he have been able to see a man sitting or standing? Go to the church passage entrance, then come back and try to see me while holding your lantern. I will stay at the spot where the victim was discovered.
So without my lantern now. So what is... Sorry, I completely missed that. While holding my lantern.
I see you, Holmes.
You had to proceed into the square in order to see me, something Harvey didn't do. It is possible that the killer was still there. 1:42 a.m. PC Harvey arrives at Mitre Square, but does not go in. The murderer may well have still been there.
Dun dun dun. Then 2 minutes later, body discovered.
1:44 a.m. The body is discovered. Let's put the murder of poor Eddowes on the timeline, Watson.
Okay.
1:35 and 1:42 a.m. The murder would appear to have taken place between these times, that is to say, within 7 minutes.
Agreed, Holmes. But does this really prove that our killer had the time to perpetrate these two murders?
Let's look at our timeline, Watson.
It took us 20 minutes to go from Dutfield's yard to Mitre Street, so...
There, Watson. We are now certain that the murderer really had the time to commit these two murders.
Incredible!
Let's look at our deduction board, Watson.
Alright, now we have to piece everything together, huh? Deduction. So I'm just gonna... The items are meant for a woman. These items belong to the victim. And Eddowes' murder is a transvestite. No. But I have a feeling it's more simple than that. A thimble is found right beside the victim's hand. She had it in her hand. C. Edward's liver and lungs underwent small incisions. Her kidney and uterus were removed. Her nose was cut. Her eyelids were cut, and her cheeks were slashed. This was like disturbing speed cosmetic surgery. He knew anatomy. Let's see. The wound to the neck goes from the right and slightly oblique in descending. It was fast. I don't know. I'll figure that one out later. The items at the victim's feet are very orderly. I already know he's neat. He probably cleaned himself. Let's see here. The central incision goes from the sternum downward towards the groin. The murderer is right-handed. I don't know. I think it's the same as stride. There's all the actual murder victims. Sure. It died the same way as Liz Stride. Brutally. Okay, I got that right. What is this? The murderer cut open the stomach.
This spot is making me nauseous. Can we not head back, Holmes?
Yeah,
We certainly can't, Watson. We have one final point to address. Do you remember the piece of white apron that was missing just now? It was found just a few steps away from here, at the entrance of a building. That's where we must go.
Let's see. Golston Street.
Let's go. There's the spot, Watson. By night, Goulston Street is deathly silent, which will permit us to carry out a fair few experiments. Let's find the entrance where the piece of the victim's apron and the mysterious chalk message were found.
Oh, well, at least we've gotten away from the...
Look at these signs, Watson. We are in the Jewish High Street.
Holly Nathan.
Look at these signs, Watson. We are in the Jewish High Street.
I can just...
Nothing of interest here.
Oh, okay, I'm not allowed to walk in. Women and children fashion.
There's the spot where the apron and the message were found by PC Long. Now, let's recreate the scene. Remember, Watson, it was raining that night. Find me something with which to mimic raindrops hitting this wall while I write something with my chalk.
The Jews are not the men that will be blamed for nothing. But what does it mean?
I don't know, can we just...
Have you found something for us to pour water from, Watson?
Find a container and some water. Let me remind you that it's night time and the street is deserted, Holmes.
Can I now head up here?
I have no reason to go that way.
I hear a horse, but I don't see a horse. That's a bottle.
Water.
Where's the water? I need a cup or something.
I have no reason to go that way.
Can I head up here?
I have no reason to go that way.
Right, so we have to stick to the streets. I can't run actually. Park. Might be something here. It's a construction site. Ish. 1800s construction site. How far down this street can I...
An old wooden pole. A merchant probably threw it out.
I'm borrowing it. Not entirely sure why yet, but I have played this game before, but it is a long time ago, and I don't really remember anything.
I have no reason to go that way. I have no reason to go that
I
way.
know, but could you find a reason? I mean, we are looking for stuff after all. Yep. Okay, was there a specific reason why I did that? Oh, I can climb up here now.
A watering can. That's what I need. But I can't reach it.
Okay, but I have a stick.
A watering can. That may come in handy. Who knows?
Here, can I combine these two? Yeah, but I need rope. That's the horse again, somewhere. You would think that I'd find rope here. Also, who just puts their watering can like willy-nilly like that? Clean up after yourselves, please. Right, so... Can't I just scoop water in my hands and just chuck it at the wall? Also, why isn't he helping? I mean, come on. Dog. Let me in. I heard the dog. There's the horse. There's
That may come in handy. Who knows?
Does indeed. Time to do some crafting. Large pole with hook. So just step up. It's a magical box. This is stealing. This is illegal. I could have realized it for Holmes. Right, where was the barrel of water? Fill that up, please. Thank you. There you go.
Yes, I have, Holmes.
If this message were written by the killer, then it would have been lying in this entrance for up to 35 minutes before being discovered. Let's find out in what state it must have been. This message could not have withstood an entire night in the rain.
Bye-bye.
During the investigations carried out on the night of the double murder, PC Hulse inspected the entrances of this street around 2:20 a.m. and confirmed to have seen nothing out of the ordinary. At 2:55 a.m., 35 minutes later, PC Long found Catherine Eddowes' piece of apron and the message in chalk. This message would not have withstood a whole night in the rain, as had I continued to water it for a little longer, I would certainly have erased it. It was written, therefore, at the moment when the piece of apron was dumped. This substantiates PC Hulse's statement, which stated he had seen neither of these during his rounds. After its discovery, it was guarded and protected from the rain, which was subsiding, which explains why it was still legible when it was erased at 5:30. My dear Watson, when you met P.C. Smith on his rounds in the street, where was he? On the pavement or in the middle of the road?
In the middle of the road, Holmes, without a shadow of a doubt.
Good. You will go down the street with your lantern as if you were a policeman on patrol, using Smith's position as a guide. As soon as you see the entrance where I used the watering can, tell me if you see anything.
Did you know they didn't actually photograph the message from Jack the Ripper? They simply just washed it away.
No, you aren't in the right spot with the lamp, Watson.
There, Holmes. From here, I can see something written.
Can you read it?
No.
Do you see the white rag, Watson?
No. Well, yeah.
No, you aren't in the right spot with...
I see something on the ground, but I'm not sure if it's what you were talking about.
There's a lamppost in the way.
PC Long, who found the piece of apron, was examining the interior of the entrances, and yet nobody would have predicted that this piece of material would be discovered on the very night of the murder by a policeman on patrol.
What are you trying to get at, Holmes?
Let's look at this message on the wall, Watson. The Jews are not the men that will be blamed for nothing. In other words, the Jews were possibly blamed for nothing, but that will no longer be the case. Reading this message naturally begs one question. What would that be, Watson?
Why?
Indeed, Watson, why? For what reason would one have the right to blame the Jews in the future? Remember, Liz Stride was killed near a club for socialist Jews, Eddowes not far from a synagogue and the Imperial Club, and finally, this piece of apron dropped here. This building is occupied by Jewish families. The killer really did go out of his way to incriminate the Jews living in the area.
It's a bit obvious, Holmes.
Yes, but with the rumours, Watson, the author of this message would have received a response to his strategy.
You are right, Holmes. So perhaps it's a good thing this message was erased.
Whoever took the decision to do this is a man of great wisdom and courage. Let's return to Baker Street, Watson. I have some pipes to smoke to help me think more clearly.
let's go back to Baker Street. Home, sweet home.
Yeah, Sherlock needs the weed. Right, map. Back home.
I had nightmares all night, Holmes. As for you, I bet you didn't get a wink of sleep, did you? It's this chalk message business, isn't it?
Among other things.
And this lunatic is still running free. If only we knew what he looked like.
But we do know, Watson. We have a fairly accurate description.
I must have missed an episode of your adventures, Holmes. Not only have I heard you discredit the value of our eyewitnesses, but the few descriptions we do have don't seem to correspond.
An inaccurate account can regain its value if we can discover why and to what extent the truth must be rewritten. We've learned a great many things tonight, and I'm able to tell you what our man looks like.
Really?
Yes, and we're going to need a few things, Watson. Find me 3 mannequins, my worker's costume, my 3 full wigs, one of your worn garments, yes, that can be used for the workman's outfit, and one of your old suits. Oh, and my deer stalker, the one I never wear, but everyone seems to think I wear day and night.
Yeah, I'm, again, playing these games in the chronological time order and not the order that they were released. So there's going to be some interesting dips and highlights of in the graphics quality. Just so you're all, you know, warned. There's a wig. Anything in here?
A wig! This will come in handy.
Apparently, yes. Oh, that's 2 of them. Need a 3rd. Oh, there's one. Oh no, is this enough, Mr. Holmes? And my cat's on the counter. Shoo, get down. Right, let's decorate these mannequins then. Or swing my mouse willy-nilly. That also works.
So, as for one of the murders, we have no witnesses whatsoever. As for the 3 other, we have at least one person who claims to have seen the victims talking to a man a few minutes before their death. Do you remember whom these would be, Watson?
Oh boy. Height, age, and what they look like. Okay, so we need witness testaments. Kadosh, did you see anyone? You did not. Elong, you did. What was your testimony? At least 40. And a little taller than the woman with whom he was discussing, approximately 5 feet 3 inches. So, oh, he shrunk fast. There you go. And brown deerstalker hat, dark coat, and general appearance of the working class. Okay, so where's your deerstalker? Did you say anything about his hair? Dark hair and the mustache.
There we are. Magnificent.
Yeah, he looks beautiful. Someone else saw someone. You didn't. Mm. Did you see anything? No. Did you? No. So I assume we need to talk to, or well, at least, right, did you see anything? Yes, you did. You saw a man in a cap. What's wrong with my mannequins? Dark color and white color. He seemed to be a respectable type. So my mannequins have gone awry. 26 years old, 5'8", dark brown mustache.
There we are. Magnificent.
Why are they black though? Once again, my cat was on the counter. He is very misbehaving. Okay, and then we have to figure out the last one. How about here? Who... Israel Schwartz noticed, so... Did we talk to Israel Schwartz? I don't remember. Something probably here. I don't really know. Who was the one who saw... Where is the slaughterhouse? Okay, so this was a long time ago, and then it was October 7th. With K. Edos. Is it this one? Probably not this one. Oh, maybe. Clothing worn by Catherine Edos. This is a lot of things. let's see. It was PC Watkins? Who? Oh, maybe here. I think this might be it. Yes. So, what does he say? He says 30 years old, 5'7", fair moustache, loose dark jacket.
Bravo, Watson. There are our 3 witnesses.
Okay, so blonde with a grey cap, 30 years old. And what else? How tall was he? Uh, 5'7".
There is an error, Watson. Let's reread Abraham's testimony.
Okay, I screwed up apparently. 30 years old, 5'7", light complexion and a fair moustache. He wore a loose dark jacket, a grey cap and a red scarf around his neck. I don't have any scarves. Was he ginger maybe? Nope. Does it matter which body I use? No.
There is an error, Watson. Let's...
Jesus Christ. Okay. She was small. Must have been 30 years old, about 5'7". These are finished. I can't do anything more with these. I need to find a red scarf probably. So let's go do that. Hey Sherlock, do you have any red scarves? Do I have any red scarves? That's a lot of pipes. Do I not need a scarf? Oh, look at that. What's this? This is the general deductions. Is a very strong man. Right. Okay, and then just putting these in. And he's poor. Let's see here then. Jack the Ripper wants to settle a score with the Jewish community. Well, any scarves that I'm missing?
Let's try to recreate the profile of the men seen by our three witnesses.
Yes, but I need the scarf. Please and thank you. Do I not? Hmm. $30, 5'7". Is he not 5'7"?
Indeed, Watson, that's the right size for Abraham's mannequin. The account given by Mr. Solomonovich's friend is incorrect in at least one point. The first Joseph said that the man was at least 5'7" tall. The second Joseph said he was 3 inches taller than the victim, whom we know was 5 feet tall, which would suggest a height of 5'3". Don't forget that it was this second Joseph who attracted his friend's attention towards the couple on the other side of the road. We can assume he got a very good look at them. As for young P.C. Smith's account, he must have been mistaken about this person's real height. It is only an inch or two after all, and we can attribute the same height as the other two.
Alright, so you want me to shorten him.
There we are. Magnificent.
That is a short man.
Bravo, Watson. Our mannequins have been recreated based on the correct accounts. Now, Watson, let's see in what ways these statements differ and how the witnesses could have been mistaken. Let's look at these wigs and moustaches. Let's start by taking the first Joseph's testimony, who saw the man head-on in a well-lit spot and in which he noted fair hair. Now, let's consider the same person, but in the lighting and angle of the other two witnesses, in the darkness of night, with poor artificial lighting from above. Put out the light, Watson.
Okay.
Thus, poor lighting and a backlit subject can affect our perception of shades and colours. The wigs from Abraham's mannequin took on the same colour as the other two. The three testimonies, therefore, don't contradict one another, and we can apply the same facial hair to all three mannequins. Turn on the light, Watson.
Okay. Say please. Are they all blonde then?
Yes, I have, Holmes.
Well done, Watson. With regards to the murderer's hair, the three witnesses should agree on Abraham's testimony. As Joseph is the only one who saw our man in full light, his hair must therefore be fair. You see, Watson, it is hard to draw objective conclusions when one is an eyewitness to an event. This leads us to reconsider the various statements regarding the supposed age of the man. Even if you are face to face with someone in full light and for a period of several hours, to what extent can you determine their exact age? And even more so if you observe them for only a few seconds and or from behind. We must allow some flexibility when considering our witnesses' statements, but always scientific flexibility.
So they're all tolerance of years 7 to 10 and 3 to 5. Determine the age range thanks to the tolerance of years indicated by Sherlock Holmes. Oh boy. So 30 to 50. Would it be... Yeah, okay, so if that's 32 then probably. Yeah. Then 33.
Perfect, Watson.
Okay. So from 16 to 26. So that would be 25 to 35. No. If it starts at... Thought I had this one in the bag. 16 to 36. Oh, I'm stupid. It's then 17 to 35, and then 18 to 36. No, 34, and then 19 to 33. Not that way. This way.
Perfect, Watson.
And 25 to 35. That would be 26 to 34. And then 27 to 30.
Perfect, Watson.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I have, Holmes.
Now that we have fully considered the witness accounts, let's see to what extent they agree. If we apply the range of error for each of our dummies, we can deduce the age of our murderer as precisely as possible.
Oh boy. Well, they have the age of 33 in common. And that about it, so 33 I guess. That's a holy number, isn't it?
Perfect, Watson.
Ah, okay, cool.
Within a margin of 1 year, Watson, the age of our murderer is 33 years.
But the man described by Smith was dressed respectably, whereas the other two were poorly dressed.
Indeed, but Whitechapel's respectively could quite easily describe the Sunday bests that all lower-class men own. Now, let's place ourselves in the shoes of Liz Stride's killer. He has just slain his victim and sees Louis Diemschutz discover her body. Our killer is at great risk if he stays in the area. He therefore gets away from this spot. But he wants to kill again. However, he might have been spotted in the area before having committed the murder by a constable on his round, perhaps, who managed to get his description. What do you think the killer will do?
What would Jack the Ripper do after committing the first murder in Dutchfield's yard and before committing the second in Mitre Square? Well, he would... throw his clothing away. Or buy a disguise. Change.
No, that's not it. No, that's not it.
It is not he who committed the second murder.
No, Watson.
Yeah, I'm trying here.
No, that's not it.
Change. He would
No,
flee.
that's not it.
Quickly
No,
as possible.
that's not
No.
it.
Flee.
No, Watson.
No.
No, that's not it.
I have a feeling that the first thing anyone accused of murder would do would be to run away from the crime, but okay.
Enter a pub and wait a moment before exiting and searching for a victim.
Certainly not, Watson. Knowing his description may have been given out, he could not risk keeping his clothes.
Alright, well, he entered a pub and changed.
No, Watson.
No? Okay.
No,
Yeah.
that's not it. No, that's not it.
I mean, I could technically just trial and error at the brute force style, but I kind of want to do this legitimately. What will Jack the Ripper do after committing the first murder in Dutsfield Yard and before committing the second in Mitre Square?
No, Watson.
Return home or to a safe location and change?
Go back home or to a safe location, change his clothes and leave again in search of another victim.
It's the only possible explanation, Watson. The man returned to the safety of his lodgings and then decided to go out again with new clothes and repeat his sinister nocturnal work. That's how the discrepancies between the witnesses with regards to clothing can be explained.
What a cold-blooded animal.
And what determination! Powerful motives are pushing this man. Thus, we can conclude that the respectable man with the package may very well have been seen by the two Josephs.
Even if it is just a mannequin, it's giving me goosebumps. But have we really made any progress, Holmes? I mean, there must be thousands of men in Whitechapel who match this description, wouldn't you say?
You're right, Watson. We have worked on who, now let's work on where. We need a map of Whitechapel, and please also find me a pencil, 2 compasses, one of which can draw ellipses.
Oh, I remember this being an absolute pain of a minigame. So prepare to stare at the ellipses for a while. Do we have more deductions? No.
I am in need of something.
First of all, let's place our 4 murders on this map, as well as the spot where the graffito appeared, and the piece of apron was dropped.
Annie Chapman, she was the first one. She died up here. The graffito was here. Elizabeth Stride, she was the second one. She was... No, I'm talking nonsense. Annie Chapman was in Bucks Row, and then Elizabeth Stride was in Henbury. Polly Nichols was in Dutchfield's Yard, and then Catherine was here. No? I'm about 12% sure of this. Maybe these are reverse. Maybe I got them mixed up. And she's in Mitre Square, and she's in Dutchfield's Yard. No? Were you maybe in Hanbury Street and you were in Bucks Row? I think so. I think I'm getting my murder victims mixed up. Are you there, maybe?
Perfect, Watson.
Okay, yeah.
Let's connect each crime scene to the one out of the others that is the furthest.
You want me to just draw lines? I'll draw lines. No? How did you want this? Well, they are the furthest away. And they are the furthest away.
You see, Watson, the murders aren't grouped together, but seem to be spread out like cardinal points around a central zone. The killer obviously wanted to avoid returning to the previous scenes of his crimes, assuming that they would be more closely watched, or that he could be recognized.
So the killer lives at the centre of this cross.
In the vicinity, most certainly, but how near? We cannot afford to get it wrong. If you concentrate, Watson, you will notice that the murders are roughly equidistant from the intersection point of the diagonals.
My head hurts.
Let's focus on the night of the double murder. Remember, Watson, it took us 20 minutes to get from Dutfield's Yard to Mitre Square. Let's draw a line from one to the other.
Neum.
Perfect. We didn't make the trip as the crow flies, but that would not harm our estimate. Let's suppose the killer left Dutfield's Yard at 1 a.m. and arrived in Mitre Square at 1:35 a.m. when he was seen by the two Josephs. If he took 5 minutes to change his clothes, that leaves a range of 10 minutes to determine where this man's lodgings are. We must determine the area in which one can go from Dutfield's Yard to Mitre Square in less than half an hour. To do this, let's draw an ellipsis. The length between Dutfield's Yard and Mitre Square corresponds to 20 minutes. By adding half, we get a distance of 30 minutes. By taking the two right segments, each starting from the two murder scenes, and which the sum of the lengths makes 30 minutes, we get our ellipses.
Oh god, here comes the... That is way... Oh, that is way too big. Oopsie daisy. That is also too big, I think. Jesus Christ. Also too big. Jesus Christ. This is what I meant with this. I probably need to put it more in the middle. How is that not good enough? Come on, dude. How about that? No? Yum. Why do they have to be perfect? I mean, can't we just make a guesstimate? I'm just gonna keep drawing ellipses until you give me something, Sherlock. No? Let's see. Maybe you're a perfectionist, Sherlock, but I flunked math. And just don't mind if my ellipses are kinda wonky. I wonder when he'll, surrender. That's too many ellipses. Come on. This is the one of the worst minigames. Remember that lock picking one? That's freaking heaven compared to this. Give me something to measure with at least. I know what's half the distance. No. Too wide. Come on, that is perfect. Can I ask for help? Trace an ellipsis in which we can go from Dutfield Yard to Mitre Square in less than half an hour. Jeez, thanks, that's helpful. It would kind of help to know where on the line you want it. Because I feel like that's pretty perfect. But you disagree, Mr. Holmes. Can I skip this puzzle? I don't need to know who Jack the Ripper is. I've changed my mind. He can run loose for all I care. Let's just... see where the cutoff point is. Uh,
There we are, Watson. Our killer lives in this area.
It's still rather a vast area, Holmes.
Yes,
okay,
indeed.
make it
And
giant.
our goal is to reduce this area as much as we can. We must consider the fact that the murder at Mitre Square was committed under a certain amount of pressure, given that the killer knew he was wanted for the acts he committed not long before. We can assume that he had to do it in a safe zone, that is, an area not far from where he lives. This is especially true of an act such as the graffiti he carried out after 2 murders. Let's trace a circle around this point, with the distance separating it from Mitre Square as the radius. This will enable us to determine our killer's safe zone.
Wait, what? Trace a circle whose center is the location of the graffito and piece of apron and whose circumference passes through Mitre Square. Okay. Is that big enough for you? Probably not. Probably too big, actually. That is way too big. But the point was to narrow it down, not widen it even further. Where's my... Like so, maybe? No. Still too big, huh? Okay, well, what if we try to, like... make it... I can't make it slimmer.
Our killer must surely live inside this circle.
Jesus Christ.
Now, let's intersect it with the ellipsis that we previously determined.
See, every time I try to, like, just go hog wild with it, that's when it goes like, no, you know what, this is okay, this is good. What tool do I use? This one, apparently. The screen.
There we are, Watson, the Aldgate district.
Shouldn't we inform the police so that they can concentrate their efforts on this area of Whitechapel?
It is probably already crawling with inspectors, Watson, and I doubt that they would take us seriously, even if they were willing to listen to what we had to say. Let's focus instead on understanding the killer's modus operandi. We know our murderer preys on prostitutes who are penniless, weak, sick, or alcoholic, that he distracts them the moment before killing them, and that he left an anonymous message inciting anti-Semitic hatred at the entrance of a building occupied by Jews. How would you describe this man?
What a coward!
Indeed, he is a person of great cowardice. Let's look at his murders, and in particular, the depredations on the corpses, putting aside that of Liz Stride, because on that occasion his work was left unfinished. If we recall the observations made on the victims and the parts that were mutilated or damaged on each of the bodies, without forgetting the fact that he also removed one or more organs, we can ascertain that our killer evolves during the course of the murders, cowardly and still evolving. And yet, look at the location of our first murder, that of Polly Nichols in Bucks Row. It is the most distant from the area our killer would appear to live. Perhaps this murder was preceded by another within the killer's area. I believe a cowardly killer would commit his first murder in an area close to his home, in order to find refuge as quickly as possible on carrying out the act.
Holmes, an idea just occurred to me that fills me with dread. This evolution of which you speak...
He will pursue his next victim as long as the conditions permit him to continue killing Watson.
But how could one go even further in this horror? Look at what he did to that woman, Catherine Eddowes.
In order to avoid having to answer that question, we must act with haste and planning. Watson, I suggest you inform yourself on the mutilations sustained by the victims. We played with the idea that this could be an act of vengeance against prostitutes. If the mutilations correspond to areas affected by a specific pathology, perhaps the killer wanted to give an eye for an affliction he felt the prostitutes he knew were responsible for.
And this trail leading to Dr. Tumblety, Holmes?
I also have a few things to look into in the meantime. I still have a primary witness to track down, not to mention old trails I've yet to pursue. See you soon, Watson.
Well, bye-bye.
When we first spoke about the Bucks Row murder with Watson, he was reading a newspaper, The Star, dated September 1st, 1888, I believe, which mentioned similar murders in the preceding months. I have no chance of finding the police reports, but perhaps I could find some information at the Central News Agency. I must go there at once. Afterwards, I'll go back to see Abraham, the owner of the pet shop in Whitechapel. The second Joseph's statement would lead me to believe that he may know the man spotted on the corner of Church Passage that night. If that's the case, I must find this witness so I can question him.
Well, we got a busy night ahead of us. Put out the fire before you go. You're gonna start something. Right, so you wanna go to the Central News Agency.
Ah, Bulling is there. It won't hurt just this once.
What? Are we gonna make fun of him?
Hello, Mr. Bulling. So, did your colleague tell you about the tip?
What tip?
Ah, I see. I gave him an explosive tip and he went without you? Oh, that's not very sporting on his part. No doubt he took all of the credit for his discovery.
You're winding me up, eh?
Just a little.
I must show Bulling something to make him believe me.
What's this? An IOU. Here you go.
What do you want?
I'm not winding you up. The proof is that he gave me this advance on the debt.
The traitor! He owes me if I find him!
Before I leave, can you do me a favor?
Heck, tell me.
I'm looking for some reliable info on the murders committed in Whitechapel in the months before Polly Nichols' attack.
Reliable? Ha! You really think you'll find that here? Fine. I'll be honest with you. We have folders that group the dispatches from the current year into categories. In the police law category, you'll find the transcripts from the trials and investigations that we sell to the newspapers that ask us.
Perfect.
Sadly, I am out of time. I'll leave you to solve it, eh? You're the detective, aren't you?
So what, mister? Can I rob him again? I took some coins from him last time. Police law.
The dossiers are full of papers in dated envelopes. I can't open them. That would be too obvious. How can I tell which compartment to look in? No categories are indicated.
Well, let's see. Can I look at them though?
An envelope is torn. I can tell that this dispatch contains economic information.
Okay, so this is economy. Anything else?
This compartment was repaired recently.
Repaired, okay. Is that possibly front page? How am I supposed to figure out this? What are my clues? Maybe there are clues elsewhere. I'm gonna have a poke. Like here. Letter to Fernand. Yesterday I randomly placed a few inventions in science with politics dispatches. Given that the compartments are one on top of the other, it could have easily passed as one of the new lad's errors. Politics with the society section on his right, and this latter with the economy, which is his neighbor. So politics with the society section on his right, and a letter with economy. What's that about economy? It's a neighbor of politics. So politics has to be here, and then... No? Yes, maybe? No, politics needs to be there, and then society needs to be there, right? Probably. Hopefully. I'm gonna go with that for now. I'll rearrange it if I have to. Repair the wood of the news in brief compartment. Oh, well, that's easy enough. News in brief. You go there. What's this? Ah, I can't read that. As the agency receives numerous dispatches, the filing system that you made appears to be too small, particularly for the world and society sections, which cover too much area and overflow into the boxes below. Please, law and culture, respectively. Would you be able to furnish a device in order to keep only one filing cabinet? Okay, so world and society sections. So that must be world. And they flow into police, law, and culture, respectively. Police and law and culture. So that's either there or there. We need more information. Your little brother has some misfortune. Something's far from the stove, and I'm very cold in the morning. Sort through dispatches, the most tedious and boring work imaginable. Yeah, I know. Once the work is done, I must take each envelope to the journalist in question. The boss calls me to his office to give me a sermon. It seems I've mixed up the dispatches. I was so worn out that I could only protest half-heartedly. Give me a second chance, and now I'm in a sticky situation. Just because everyone here knows the order of the sections, but no one has bothered to tell me. The lady is... politics and society on the side, sports is underneath economy, personalities is at the end of the row, front page news is the first compartment, etc. Alright, so front page news is there. What was next? Sports is underneath economy. And then personalities is at the end of the row. Either there or there then. Okay. But I saw another one, I think. Yeah. To improve the dispatch filing, propose major info in bigger, except up. Whoa, I can't read this. News in brief, minor info down low, except police law. In future, propose also to invert news in brief. Just for the moment. Furthermore, the weather section is almost always empty. Put it right in here. Okay, so this is weather. That means that personalities is over here. And would police and law be under politics, maybe? Or is that science? I think culture should be here, and like so. There you go.
These envelopes contain dispatches of police and judicial cases. Now, I need to open them discreetly. I must try to unglue the openings.
Lick it. Well, heat, probably.
I need something.
Well, you need a cloth or something to dampen it.
These envelopes contain dispatches of police and judicial cases. Now,
Okay, yeah, thank you. Oh, a teapot. I need to fill it with water, probably. Or not?
I need something.
Do I shovel coal in there? Or do I put the envelope?
These envelopes contain... I need something.
I need steam. I can't just casually use every... Can I use the umbrella? Not really sure what for, maybe fencing. No, I got matches, what am I doing?
I need something.
Oh, light the coal bucket on fire then. Set the envelope on fire. Do I need like paper as kindling? What is permissible paper? That's a pretty fan. What exactly would you need to light this fire?
Water.
Oh, well, we gotta fill the teapot.
There, that will provide me with steam.
And then just... Okay, there we go. That's the world's fastest trip.
Open, and it looks like I'm in luck. This envelope contains precious information.
Turn it off. It's very loud. Someone's gonna come. Day of inquest, April 7. Mr. Wynne E. Baxter. Deceased for about 2 years. Oh no, she had known the deceased. Emma Elizabeth Smith, age 45, a widow. Okay.
The information excludes the murder of the first woman, Miss Smith. Jack the Ripper can't be the... I must go to the pet shop. I must go to the pet shop.
Pet shop is over here.
I must go to the pet shop.
I'm well aware.
Closed until further notice. Abraham isn't there. No luck.
Beep beep.
Beep beep.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening, sir.
Do you know why Mr. Solomonovich's shop is closed?
No, I don't. Perhaps his cousin, the cobbler, knows. But I believe the police came to take his animals. I think that might have something to do with it.
When was this?
During the day. The kids you were with the other day were there, they told me. They just came by to ask for some cat's meat. They didn't have any money, but I gave them some anyway.
Is something wrong?
It's just that there was a little girl with them, the same age as mine. My little girl who went away with her mother, with the angels into the sky.
Dr. Watson told me about your loss. Please accept my condolences. Would you like to talk about it? How did it happen?
The illness, sir. My poor little girl was in agony, and her face and body were ravaged by the disease.
Her face?
Yes, she looked like a ghost.
What illness was it?
Dr. Gibbons tried to explain when I took my little girl to see him, but I didn't understand. I'm sure that he was trying to insinuate it was my fault. I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I understand. Farewell. Let's go and see Dr. Gibbons.
Well, he's right here. Dr. Gibbons, you're still alive.
Hello, Doctor. Do you remember me? I'm Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson's friend.
Oh, yes. Excuse the mess, but I am doing a bit of tidying.
I have come to see you about a Mr. Hardyman, a cat food seller by trade, who recently lost his daughter and wife.
Yes, I know him. A tragic story.
And you're just gonna disclose personal medical information?
Actually, I was hoping you could tell me about the disease that took his daughter, a disease that would have attacked her face.
Well, to keep it short, we are speaking of syphilis, Mr. Holmes. You must certainly know that it is transmitted through intimate connections, and that the vast prostitute population here contributes to its inevitable progression. It destroys individuals by spreading through the body slowly. The most obvious symptoms can be found in the genitalia and on the face in the form of pustules or lesions. Sometimes this illness can destroy whole families. The father catches it from a prostitute, he transmits it to his wife, who in her turn passes it to the kids which she bears or nurses. These cases are numerous in the vicinity. Certain children, and this is the case of the little girl whom I won't name, suffer from an emaciation of the face which will, apart from predicting an imminent death, bring infamy upon the family.
Emaciation of the face?
Yes, what we sometimes call the pox. I will give you a photograph. One cannot be mistaken on the origin of such a face. The eyes seem to be void of lids. The nose is inexistent, as if it was cut off. And the cheeks are chiselled, as if cut with a knife.
I'm not sure
This loss of facial matter, this emaciation, is, in this area, often the gift from a father to his children.
Can I keep this photograph?
I should destroy it. But if it can remind you that one must sometimes think twice before giving in to physical attraction...
I always seem to find myself alone in such cases. Thank you, Doctor.
That's why they call him handsome. Isn't that great? Photo of a child with an emaciated face. It's
Let's
like
go
a
to the cobbler's.
random deduction board. Wait. Have I conclusions? I do. The sudden, like, real life pictures combined with the fictional ones are kind of incredible. It's a very jarring difference.
Let's go to the cobbler's.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Solomonovich.
Ah, Mr. Holmes, how are things with you?
Pretty good.
I heard your cousin Abraham had a problem with his shop. What happened?
Ah, if I didn't know you well, I would tell you that it's Jewish business that doesn't concern anyone but the Jews. But as you have a little bit to do with it, you have the right to know what is going on.
Ah, would I have something to do with it?
Someone had seen Abraham telling you something and making big gestures near the Imperial Club. A vicious rumor quickly spread, and it has caused him great injustice. A slanderous denunciation attracted the authorities' attention to my cousin's shop. Abraham must be in the process of answering their questions.
I did, indeed, speak with your cousin the other night. I'm shocked at the consequences of this discussion.
As I was saying, it's the story of the Jews. In the face of adversity, we are united, but amongst ourselves, it's like anywhere else. As soon as our people take a dislike to someone, for right or wrong, we can be without pity and quite cruel.
This is all very worrying. Your cousin knows one, or rather two, of the men who were at the Imperial Club on the night of the Mitre Square murder. One of the two, a butcher in Aldgate named Joseph, is probably withholding information of the utmost importance. I must find this man. Perhaps you can help me.
But there are dozens of Jewish butchers around Aldgate, half of which must be called Joseph. And you know, Mr. Holmes, we Jews prefer to remain in the background of this murderer business, this Jack the Ripper thing. All of London is pointing their fingers at us, saying, "It's a Jew who disemboweled these women." Our community is in great peril, you know. There was the business with Lipski and Leather Apron. I will see what I can do, but I don't promise anything.
I'd be extremely grateful to you.
Goodbye.
Very well. We may meet again, Mr. Solomonovich.
You are most welcome, Mr. Holmes.
I've paced up and down Whitechapel enough. I should return to Baker Street in order to reflect on the new facts that I have discovered.
Oh, time to smoke a pipe. It's 11:20 a.m. Where is... Well, there he is.
Hello, Holmes.
Good day, Watson.
Listen, Holmes, I know I should have got here sooner to give you a report on my research, but this case has led me to neglect my patients and my wife more than I care to admit. I've been able to sort things out over the last few days, and now I am ready to pursue this investigation.
You don't have to justify yourself, Watson. Whilst I do tolerate you as an observer, and despite your occasional help with more menial tasks, may I remind you that you are by no means an indispensable part of this case.
Wow,
Oh,
gosh.
you tolerate me as an observer, do you? Oh, you're too much, Holmes. Well, Mr. Detective, despite my absence, I have been working on this case, putting my relationship on the line in the process, and I happen to have a confidential letter that only passed from one lord's hand to another. What it contains is extremely serious and concerns Dr. Tumblety and his collection of uteri.
Let me see that.
You should have said no. What is this? Our eminent colleagues support our policies. As you mentioned, we must avoid having to explain to the uncultured masses the medical research general crisis. Evokes the rumor that you mentioned in your letter when I met with my colleagues. An American doctor in London did in fact contact certain hospitals. His approach was aimed at getting stooks of feminine genitalia, particularly uteri. Doctor in question wanted to include a uterus specimen freshly conserved in formalin with each of the research dissertations sent to each of the colleges involved. Okay, so basically
Excellent. This American could turn out to be of great use to use.
That's right, and that's not all. I did some research and finally found an illness that affects the genitalia and can, in certain cases, cause facial symptoms resembling the mutilations seen on the last victim. It is called, would you believe?
Syphilis and the emaciation that can be seen in affected children. I have known that for days, Watson.
Really?
Listen, now you're already here, Watson, we may as well continue the investigation. Do you remember the map on which we established the area in which our killer lives? I think we should continue our study.
The map?
Well, I discovered the case of another murder before that of Bucks Row. It happened in George Yard. We shall put it on the map in order to see if it corresponds to our area of research. We must place the murder of Martha Tabram in George Yard on the map. That is where Martha Tabram's murder took place. There's no point going there. I already have all the information we need on that matter. You see, this murder took place in the area in which our killer lives, his safe zone. Nonetheless, there are two major differences between the murder of this Martha Tabram and that of Polly Nichols. Firstly, the blows inflicted are not the same.
And the second difference?
It follows on from a doctor's opinion. He claims two weapons might have been used, and if there is one group of people we absolutely must not trust in this business, it's doctors. Don't you agree, Watson?
Watch it, Holmes.
Tabram's murder took place in an area where the murderer, whose cowardice is clear, was able to make a quick getaway, that is to say, near his home. For his second murder, he would have wanted to go further afield, so the police would not link these two cases. And as for the other murders, seeing the ineffectiveness of his last one, he headed in different directions to kill his victims while still staying in the vicinity and without going any further than necessary, and all the while planning his escape. My dear
Oh.
Watson, we now know what this man looks like, in what area he lives, and that he suffered directly or indirectly from syphilis. Let's not forget the anatomical knowledge he must almost certainly possess. Given his lower-class background, a butcher seems very likely. However, it may be the case that the man was a butcher once, but is no longer. He might also have been a medical assistant. Who knows? That's why we need the testimonies of the other Joseph and Dr. Tumblety in order to be certain.
What shall we do, Holmes?
As the police's cooperation is futile and can be ruled out, we have nothing to do but wait. Watson, wait, and hope we see one of these two men before the killer strikes again.
And for everyone who knows the
At last, a long day's work
Jack
done.
Ripper
How you doing, Holmes?
Fine, Watson, just fine.
I
timeline.
suppose you still haven't heard any news from Whitechapel.
No, Watson.
It's been almost a month now. Who knows? Our killer may have brought justice upon himself, overcome by remorse and ignominy for his actions.
Not a chance, Watson.
You haven't done anything about the story of a kidney that was sent in the post and reported by the papers. Why not?
The killer left a message on one occasion with the intention of harming. The letter accompanying this package served no purpose other than to give value to its recipient and arouse disgust against its sender. The killer has never done anything for nothing. In order to authenticate the Galston Street message, he left an indisputable piece of evidence. Can we really say as much about this kidney?
I don't know. All I know is that there are letters piling up on your desk. Isn't it time to move on to another case?
Absolutely not, Watson. I think that the other Joseph is reluctant to meet me. The man he saw must certainly have put the fear of God in him, a man well known for his violence and his hatred towards Jews. There can't be any shortage of those in Whitechapel. I have hope yet. As for Dr. Tumblety...
We found him, Mr. Holmes. We found him.
Who's that?
Dr. Bumblebee. He's been locked up by the bobbies, but they've let him loose. Oi, he was looking round like a rat who's scared of his own shadow. He's gonna do a runner, he is.
Watson, this is our chance. The game is afoot. Let's hope that Tumblety will go to collect his trunk. As for you, my little friends, thank you for lifting this burden that has been on my shoulders for almost a month.
Are we heading to the police then?
Let's return to the boarding house.
Oh, the boarding house. Oh, that was a little bit off.
He is here. The doctor is here, up in his room. Peeking through my door, I saw him go up the stairs, and I think that he has a pistol.
Regarding the trunk, did you do what I told you to?
Yes, I jammed the lock and filled the trunk with stones. Should we call the police?
Absolutely not. Go home, lock your doors, and if you hear a gunshot, shout as loudly as you can. Watson, we must disarm this man at all costs before attempting to confront him. Come, have your pistol at the ready and stay alert.
Pull your gun out, man. Oops, wrong button.
Don't move a muscle or I shoot.
Who? But what is going on?
Bravo, Watson. I take back everything I ever said about your less than full involvement in our investigations.
Listen, Mr. Policeman. I already told everything to your colleagues at the station, so...
Don't you believe it, sir. We're not with the police. We are here to talk about human organs, an area in which you seem to have a great deal of interest.
What? But who are you?
We are the ones holding the pistol. Listen, Tumblety, tell us everything you know and you will be spared from the noose or a bullet. Have you tried to get hold of any female genitalia from someone during these past months?
So that's it. You English. Listen, as it happens, I do have a collection of female genital organs which I hold dear and never miss the chance to show my friends whatever the occasion.
Gross.
If you knew what I feel when my eyes meet the young men's as they contemplate with astonishment and disgust this soft and flabby skin that they worship and place at the center of all their passions.
Gross.
Women repulse me, gentlemen.
Oh,
They are one of nature's greatest mistakes.
oh well.
Lying, haughty, and most of all, nauseating. No, sirs. Men, mankind, we are not made to soil ourselves with such animals, and it is my task to educate my peers, like the ancient Greeks used to do, and put them on the path to masculine relationships, the only kind worthy of our intelligence.
My God, this man has lost his marbles, Holmes.
You haven't answered my question. Did you attempt to obtain any female organs?
Indeed, but a long time ago. I was living in Liverpool at the time. A few of my specimens were starting to lose their freshness. But despite the sum proposed, the heads of the university hospitals refused to accede to my demands. The fear of what others would say, certainly. I know nothing more similar to an arrogant fowl than an English doctor. Yakety yak, always showing off in the courtyard with their haughty airs. And as soon as...
Shut it, Tumblety. So, was it you who killed all of these women? Yes or no?
I regret to say that it was not. If I had really wanted a few more uteri, I would have had them brought in from the United States, where it would cost me much less than here. Or I would have shown a few gold coins in the hallways of a morgue or a hospital in London, and they would have kissed my feet to sell them to me, and not taken the least risk. But kidneys are all the latest, aren't they? I think that I could find one tomorrow for less than £1. In short, gentlemen, I do not know your killer, and I don't know why he's doing that. But if you come across him one day, please send him my friendship and my deepest respect.
You've gone too far this time.
Come, Watson, let's not get carried away now. Thank you for your assistance, Doctor. If I may offer some advice, you should leave England as soon as possible. Each day that you remain in this country is a risk that an intelligent man would not take.
My pistol?
Without that, it will be even more risky.
Can we believe this man, Holmes?
He can't be the murderer, and his story regarding the organs fits. But we can't afford to take the slightest risk. I will ask the Baker Street irregulars to follow him. Listen, lads, when Tumblety leaves here, follow him discreetly and come and tell me as early as possible tomorrow where he is currently residing. Understood?
Understood, Captain.
Best kind
You
of
are
game,
already ready, Holmes.
Resort.
What is going on?
I have been waiting for you for at least an hour, Watson. It would appear that a new drama has unfolded. The youngsters came to give me this address, but I have some doubt as to the actual location we are going to. Let's try anyway. At worst, we may come across the Baker Street irregulars to put us in the right direction.
It's like 6 in the morning. Why? Go to bed, Sherlock.
We are lost, Holmes.
No, we're not, Watson. We are heading for the very street I'd hoped for, but as I wasn't sure it was this one, I've made a few big detours in order to find the right one. I'll know it when I see the name.
Why, of course, Holmes. Why didn't I think of that? The great Sherlock Holmes can't...
How are you, my friend? Are you not feeling well?
No,
My friend is a doctor. He can take care of you.
don't go there. He came here and he...
Now, Watson, take care of him.
Alright. Miller's Court. Let me tell you, I was very curious as how they would portray this murder. And they didn't.
My God!
What happened?
Can't talk. Wait for the coppers. Are they coming? My eyes are crying.
No.
Go find them too, mister. I'll stay here and keep an eye out. Go!
No, I must await my friend. Ah, here he is.
Watson, are you there? How are you?
Fine, Holmes, and you? What happened?
Hello, sir. Where are we, Watson?
In
Sherlock
Whitechapel,
went
Holmes.
complete in
This
shock.
must be Dorset Street. You don't seem very well. Do you need something?
Indeed, Watson, some clay, a great big piece of clay. I would ask for some wine too, but as you know, I taste nothing but melodrama.
What is over there?
A trip from which you will never return, Watson. Trust me, don't go there.
A trip? Behind this door? In this room?
It's not strictly a door, it's more of a portal, a threshold, and what lies behind it is not the mortal realm, Watson. It is a place beyond time and space, the gift of a frantic artist who made use of his talent in order to grant us access to his world, Watson. Beyond that threshold is an abyss. Hell. The police won't take long to arrive, and the last thing I want is to waste precious time on them. Could you lead me out of this area and take me home?
It was in the last murder of Jack the Ripper, and his most vicious one. Well, at least the last confirmed murder of Jack the Ripper. And I wasn't, first time I played this, I was very much not particularly interested in seeing exactly how they would portray that, and I'm kind of glad they did.
You should come and eat, Holmes. Mrs. Hudson has worked wonders. The joint has been cooked medium rare. If only you would tell me what was in the courtyard.
The answer, Watson.
The answer, Holmes?
Yes, the answer to a question that you asked me a few weeks ago.
And how the devil can the answer to a question I asked you be found in that courtyard? And what question are you referring to, Holmes?
How our killer set about reaching the height of horror by taking another victim, Watson.
Yep.
Did I not tell you that I wanted to avoid melodrama?
Do you mean to say that...
Yes, that's what was in that room. You helped towards the colour. All that's missing is the odour, but I shall let that pass. The mutilations almost all resulted in large removals of flesh. My photographic memory noted them all in great detail, the shape, size and location, and thanks to the softness of this clay and your medical knowledge, I believe we can attempt to determine what is missing from this lady.
Don't you think we
That's
should
great.
wait for the medical examiner's opinion?
Surely not, Watson. This massacre has gone on long enough. I can assure you that I will do everything in my power to get our hands on Jack the Ripper before this night is out.
Right, time to look at the door.
Watson, we shall reconstruct the body of this poor woman and inspect it in detail as well. Your help as a medical man will be invaluable.
Holmes, I feel a bit unwell.
Well, I understand. I will manage on my own. Her throat was slit just like the others. The wound is particularly deep.
There's a kidney.
There were incisions in the rib cage as if to inspect the lungs. The liver was neatly removed. The liver was neatly removed.
What is this supposed to be? A bug? This is a titty.
The liver was neatly removed.
That was the uterus.
The liver was neatly removed.
Is that the spleen? I don't actually know what the spleen looks like.
The liver was neatly removed. The liver was neatly removed.
But
An organ is missing, apparently. I must specify which organ this is on my list.
the heart.
There we are, Watson. We have examined everything. The heart is the only thing missing. 2 uteri, a kidney, and now a heart. He had all the time he wanted in which to disfigure her, cut her up like a piece of meat, and yet took nothing but the heart. What do you think of that, Watson? Watson?
Watson is a little sick. Wow, the voice actor really phoned it in this day. Wahaha.
I dread to think how you'd react if you saw a corpse. I'm returning to Whitechapel, Watson, to Isaac's. If the heart tells you to come with me, if the heart tells you a little wordplay there. Let's go to the cobbler's.
You need, like, therapy, man. You had a trauma.
Let's go to the cobbler's.
You need to sit down and talk.
Beep, beep. Evening, Mr. Holmes.
Good evening, Hardiman. Has Abraham Solomоновich still not reopened his shop?
No, not that I know of.
Have you heard anything about the latest murder?
Certainly there is talk of nothing else. Poor girl. I hope they catch the bastard who did it.
Who do you think that could be?
A madman, that's for sure. Everyone in the area is pinning it on a Jew. But I don't believe that for a second.
Why?
Because Jews don't like blood, you see. They're not allowed to eat it, and they have to drain the meat before cooking it. It's true that they eat animals, but they are fanatical about all kinds of silly things. I don't know much about their rituals and all, but I know that a Jewish butcher can't just do whatever he pleases with his knife. He has strict kosher rules to follow.
You seem to be very well informed.
Well, I buy my meat from them too. My clients don't care whether the meat comes from Jews or not. Cats eat it regardless. And let me tell you, I'd go as far as to say that I may even have more faith in a Jew, because even if they don't eat all the offals, a Jew inspects them to see if the animal was in good health. Lungs, for the most part, and as they make up most of my cat's meat, you can see the connection, right?
Indeed.
Jews are allowed to eat offals?
Yes. They eat calves' kidneys, I think.
How big is that? A calf's kidney?
Ah, well, that depends if it's fresh or if it's been marinated in brine or cooked.
When fresh, are they as big as a human kidney?
They would be, yes.
You know, Mr. Hardiman, it's lucky for both of us that the murder that took place in your mother's courtyard was only the Whitechapel killer's third. Had it been the first, I wouldn't be thanking you, as I'm doing now, for all of this important information. Goodbye and take care.
If you say so. Right, farewell, Mr.
I
Holmes.
always think I'm a very odd
Let's go to the
man.
cobbler's.
I wasn't college. Where am I now? It's out here, right? Yes. Stop screaming, please.
Good evening, Mr. Solomоновich.
Evening, Mr. Holmes. If you've come about the business with my cousin, I hate to say...
Before you respond to my request, I must ask you to answer this question of the utmost importance. What offals are Jews allowed to eat?
Well, the same as you.
Kidney, heart, liver?
Yes.
How are they prepared?
Kidneys are boiled, heart is often finely sliced and cooked on a skewer, and liver is always grilled.
These offals, do they come from cattle?
Yes, beef or veal.
And eating non-kosher food would be a grave affair for a Jew, isn't that right?
Yes, it would be very serious. But what are you getting at?
If I were to tell you what I'm thinking, Mr. Solomоновich, you would pull out your own eardrums to not hear the end of my sentence. It goes against the beliefs of hundreds of members of your community, and for some, perhaps even worse. I will ask you one last time before involving the authorities, who I assure you will be far less discreet than myself. Do you know who the second Joseph is, the Aldgate butcher, who your cousin knows from the Imperial Club?
His name is Joseph Hyam Levy, but I don't know where he lives. I know nothing about him, other than he's a member of the Imperial Club on Duke Street.
That street is after Church Passage, coming from Mitre Square, am I right?
That's it.
Thank you. You have been an enormous help to both of us. Now, listen carefully. I need you to find 4 or 5 strong men among the members of your family who you trust wholeheartedly, and to wait here with them until my arrival, or you receive a message from me. Is that clear?
But if you will tell me...
Later, Mr. Solomonovich. Later. Let's go to the Imperial Club.
Oh, whoops. Imperial Club, it's...
Ah, there's the Imperial Club. Let's see if I can find Joseph Hyam Levy.
I don't think I'm allowed...
Hello, sir.
Hello. Can I help you, sir?
Indeed, I have an urgent message for Mr. Joseph Levy, the Aldgate butcher.
I regret, sir, but Mr. Levy is not at the club at present. You can wait for him if you wish.
I thank you. Do you know where I can find him? His home address, perhaps? It is a very urgent matter.
I am sorry, sir, but we do not give out information regarding the club members to people outside the group.
I understand. I must find a way to enter the Imperial Club without having to go through the entrance hall. A note encouraging members of the Jewish community to remain prudent and vigilant after rumours about the Whitechapel murders.
Right. Today, Friday, November 9. What happens? Naturalization. I've become a citizen of Her Majesty. Mr. Bloom on the piano and Mr. Schatz on the violin. Nice. Sounds like a riveting evening.
This may come in handy.
I'm gonna steal that. You don't mind if I take your trash, right?
Judging by the sound of voices and applause, there is a meeting going on at this very moment. I'll have to be very cautious.
Pardon me, sir, but the club is only open to members.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I must find a way to enter the Imperial...
Can I... Wow, I haven't been here in daylight before.
There's a cellar window behind this barrel, which is preventing me from passing.
Kick it over.
There's a cellar window behind this barrel. Coal. It's a service door and firmly locked. There must be a stock room in the cellar beneath this room. If I can just get into the coal cellar, I shall be in the place.
Light it on
This
fire.
barrel is on a wooden pallet, but it is too heavy to be moved. I will need a pivot. I will need a pivot.
Right, we're gonna need like a plank.
There we are. My pivot is in place. Now, let's find something to tip over this barrel. I will need a pivot.
Can they use another plank? I don't know. Oh, there's... Sure, I can use this.
I should be able to make it tip over.
Put your back into it.
Closed. The cellar window is locked from the inside by a simple iron hook.
That's fine.
Let's go.
Hey,
Good.
oh,
Let's try to find the exit that leads to the club.
don't need anything down here, maybe.
I have no reason to go that way.
Well, no, but
This may come in handy.
this looks dangerous. You'll just casually walk along and then...
Empty tin cans. Closed.
I have a key.
Closed.
Oh, okay.
The kitchen. It's closed, and besides, I won't find what I'm looking for in there.
Okay, how about here then?
Let's hope that it really is the key to this door. Administration. Perfect. This must be where the information on club members is kept.
This is breaking and entering. This is very illegal.
Some square metal tokens. Curious. There is a document.
Fused on the advice of Joseph Haim Levy. What is? I want to let you know that if your club needed kosher meat when you have any special functions, I would be available to furnish it for you. Jacob Levy. Guaranteed by compliant abattoir, it will be delivered directly to your society.
There must have been litigation between Joseph Haim Levy and Jacob Levy. A page from an old Yiddish-English dictionary. Court's proceedings. Curious.
Oh, that's a lot. Wait, who was found not guilty? Levy, guilty of receiving 12 months hard labor. What did you do?
This must be the club's safe. What I'm looking for is probably inside. I need something.
Yeah, you need
This must be the club's safe. The lock on this chest is very sophisticated. Let's see.
Right.
No, that's not it.
Now, I don't actually speak Yiddish. But there must be some sort of order to this.
No, that's not it.
Let's try. I bet I have to connect the correct ones in the right order, so I'm gonna start there, cause there is nothing that can tie to that one, so I need an N, and I need it. That's probably not an N, and I need a Stonehenge. This or this one? I'm gonna go with this one. Then a P. Then I don't know what that is, but I think it's that one. And then this is the only N. The two of those. That one. That one. There we go.
Elementary.
I have done a lot of these puzzles in my time.
I need something. I need something.
What do you need? Oh, you need
These
a dictionary.
documents contain some words in Yiddish, which reads from right to left.
Mr. Bath. I still don't speak Yiddish. Right, Mr. Bath. Lester counts as 439, and he is blessed because 439 is also, which means the man of God. Please tell Mr. Muriel, as provided, his name is spelled as Yiddish, he is 346. and 1. Is that A then? Bet 2. Is that B? TH 400. That is this one. Is that T then? No. It's an H then. Technically I could just... This is another one I can just brute force. So it's TH hammer, A, aleph, mem. You might as well brute force because I have no idea. I'm probably upsetting someone who's Jewish now, and I'm really sorry. It's never been a language that I've it's gotta be a vowel here, right? Abu. It's probably not a vowel, but J. Okay, a pole. Oops, no. Okay, a poem. A poem. It has to be like a D or an R maybe?
Excellent. Now, on to the next step.
Don't make me read any more Yiddish. Levy. Levi Joseph, born in Aldgate, 1841, membership, home address, profession, self-employed butcher.
Here we are. I have the address of this Joseph Chaim Levy, 36 Middlesex Street. Now, let's try to get out of here without being seen.
Same way we came, I suppose. Crawl out the window.
Blast! My exit has been sealed off. The barrel was replaced. I'll have to find another way.
Who does that? Who puts a barrel in front of a window? There's a hook. And a bucket. Rope. Can I combine them? Nope. There are empty tin cans over here. Oh. What I'm supposed to do with them?
I need something. I need something.
I can't really see.
I need something. I need something.
I'm unsure what you're planning to do over here, but probably won't get it back.
This may come in handy.
Do I need to light it? Yes.
I need something. I need something.
What do I do with this? What do you want me to burn?
Closed.
Sounds like a party in there.
No, that's not such a good idea. There's a meeting taking place. No, that's not a good idea. The watchman.
Okay, there's the watchman.
The kitchen. It's closed.
Whatever the meeting's going on, sounds like a hell of a celebration. How about in... There's nothing here.
I can't get out through the window. It's blocked and appears to be reinforced. I'll have to find another way out.
All the windows are blocked and reinforced? Jesus. Right, so... Maybe there's more down here? Light all this coal on fire.
I need something. I need something. I need something. I need something. I need something.
It's not that.
I need something.
Apparently. Okay, and I'm sorry, what are you planning on doing with that?
I need something. I need something. I need something.
Get the bucket on.
Now let's quickly hide in administration.
This is a terrible idea. You're starting a small fire. Oh, what was that? Why would you close your door behind you, dude?
Let's visit Joseph Levy at 36 Middlesex Street.
Yes, indeed.
Here I am in Middlesex Street. Let's find number 36.
Oh, that's 33, there's 31, so... There's 36. Knock knock.
Hello, sir. What do you want?
Hello, Ma'am. I would like to speak with Mr. Levy. Do you know if he's in?
I am Mrs. Levy, his wife. He's not arrived yet.
Do you know when he'll be in?
Oh, no idea. You know, he works at the butcher's and helps at the slaughterhouse. It often happens that he doesn't come in until early morning and then leaves right away.
Well, listen. As soon as your husband Joseph returns, tell him that...
My husband isn't called Joseph.
You aren't the wife of Joseph Hyam Levy?
No, of course not. I'm the wife of Jacob Levy. Mr. Hyam Levy used to live here with his parents, but he moved.
Mummy, who's the man that you are talking to?
But this poor child has syphilis. He carries the mark on his face.
Leave us, children. Go back inside with your brothers and sisters.
Yes, Mother.
That kind of looked more like fetal alcohol syndrome, but...
As I was saying, Mr. Hyam Levy doesn't live here. He works in a butcher's near Aldgate, but I don't know exactly where. But if you find him, he will surely live next door. Butchers always live near their work.
Could you possibly give him a message on my behalf?
I don't see him often, and... Well, even though we know him, we aren't on friendly terms, you see?
Is he bothering you, Mummy?
No, Simon, not at all.
That's a handsome boy you have. It's strange that he has light hair.
He takes after his father. Strong, with light hair.
Wait, he sounds familiar to me. A man of about 50 years old, very big, at least 6 feet tall, and left-handed, correct?
You are mistaken yet again. My husband is only 32 years old, no taller than 5'3", and he's right-handed.
Obviously, there are many levies in the area. I will leave you, and I pray that you'll excuse the disturbance. Perhaps we will have the pleasure of meeting again. Farewell, ma'am.
Goodbye, sir.
Gee, I wonder who that might be.
Daddy!
I must return to Baker Street. Let's go to Baker Street.
But you're not gonna talk to him.
Well, Watson, not looking so good.
Whose fault is that, Holmes? If you hadn't shown me your masterpiece in clay...
Some actions have much larger repercussions than would be assumed at first glance. Listen, Watson, in a few minutes I will leave Baker Street in order to meet Jack the Ripper and put an end to his crimes. Beforehand, I want to go over all our discoveries to assure myself that everything is clear.
Jack the Ripper? You know the identity of Jack the Ripper?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Watson, and I assure you that we are in possession of all the elements required to determine who Jack the Ripper is. Would you like to do this work with me? Well, we are still missing certain information in order to finish this investigation, Watson.
Let's see here. Jack the Ripper wants us to compare him to a terminal illness. Seems like he probably suffers from... No? Okay, he's confronted with syphilis. And here, murder is right-handed. Yes, we already knew that. Let's see. MJ's lungs were subject... What is this? Killer has sedated. Verify the health. And... he removed the victim's organs when he could. What about here? SOS a butcher. Also, bearing in mind this is obviously just one, theory of who the murderer was.
Perfect, Watson. Let's determine who Jack the Ripper is, Watson.
And has never been set in stone. Not even now.
Thus, we have 5 suspects. Let's add the elements that correspond to each of them.
Let's see. Jack the Ripper was confronted with syphilis. This guy probably... he was. Were you? No. Were you? No. The Whitechapel killer is poor. You're poor. You're very poor. So are you. Yes, so was a butcher. You are... score to settle with the Jewish community. And Jack the Ripper possesses great physical force. You do. You don't. Let's see. Okay. There's so much more. The murderer was light-colored hair and mustache. You don't have a mustache. You don't either. The murderer is 5 feet 3 inches. Jack the Ripper lives in the ward of Aldgate. Murderous workman clothes. I have a feeling it might be this guy.
And there you go, Watson. Jacob Levy, Jack the Ripper.
Fantastic, Holmes. And terrifying. But some aspects of this case are still unclear, at least for me.
For example, Watson?
Why does the man only kill prostitutes?
The man kills prostitutes because he blames them for the misery of his life. He must have frequented them assiduously, and, during these nocturnal visits, he contracted syphilis, which he passed on to his spouse, and via her, at least one of his children. He is an angry man in despair following a mistake that cannot be fixed.
Why does he only kill such miserable prostitutes?
He never had the means to afford prostitutes of higher standing than Nichols, Chapman and the others. At one point in his life he was forced to steal to make ends meet. This indiscretion cost him dearly. He was imprisoned and exiled from his community. He had frequented low-class prostitutes. Thus, it was they who infected him, and they who must pay.
But why did he remove the organs?
To take vengeance on his own community, which rejected him and had more success than he. He is a man who bore the burden of a sinister reputation, that of a thief and a madman, because of his internment. So he took his vengeance in the most cowardly and horrific manner imaginable. He rubbed his knife on the uterus of a sick prostitute before using it. He passed Edow's kidney off as a veal kidney.
Why did he disfigure the faces of the last two victims?
Revenge yet again, Watson. This is what you did to my child. You will suffer the same fate.
And the piece of apron and the message at Goulston Street?
The only reason to have placed the piece of apron incriminating the message and attracting attention towards himself is that the people that Levy holds responsible for his arrest live in this building. The butcher's where he committed the theft is found in Goulston Street, and the majority of the butchers who denounced him surely live close to their workplaces.
But finally, Holmes, why didn't his wife or anyone else notice anything?
His wife has many children and must be very busy. The man is a butcher, which must facilitate things when one is questioned by the police in the street and must justify the bloodstains on oneself. Furthermore, butchers often work during the night as the meat must be sold fresh each morning. His nocturnal absences were easily justifiable. Finally, he works in the butchers or slaughterhouses. Nothing could be more simple than slipping a kidney in here and using a knife soiled with human blood there.
This story is frightful, Holmes.
Indeed, Watson. Lies, infidelity, venereal disease, murder, mutilation, and finally cannibalism. A complete anthology of what humans at their most vile are capable.
Let's go at once to Whitechapel and put this madman where he can do no more harm, Holmes.
Let's, Watson.
Ho, ho, ha, ha.
I do believe we are not alone. I hope these men won't prevent us from passing.
Me? No. But you, yes, Watson. Your journey ends here tonight.
Pardon?
You are sometimes a little hot-headed. Moreover, Mr. Solomonovich has a few things to tell you. I won't be long.
You can come in, Mr. Holmes. He's waiting for you inside. Everything was organized according to your instructions. I don't know how to thank you.
Later. Dr. Watson is awaiting an explanation from you.
Oh well. Game's slowly drawing to its conclusion. Well, it is kind of concluded, but it's almost done too. I'm just hoping it doesn't crush. Very interesting. Warning for flashing lights. Very interesting.
Hello, Watson.
Holmes, have you the slightest idea what you are doing?
I think so, Watson.
Leaving this bloodthirsty pervert at liberty and hiding his existence from the London police? What folly!
Certainly, the police will never find their man, but with so many men deployed, this affair will indirectly have a benevolent effect on the crime in the vicinity.
But Holmes, wait! Justice hasn't been served, and we are accomplices to the fact.
Justice? But I don't serve justice, Watson. I serve truth. And, incidentally, I serve my country, and I don't think that I have ever served it better than today. Imagine if after months of terror and a murder as abominable as that of Miller's Court, we deliver to the English people a man of the Jewish faith, a journeyman and head of family as the guilty party. A man who forced members of his own people to eat human flesh. All of this contained tension would have exploded in a myriad of anti-Semitic acts which would have thrown Whitechapel into a rage of fire and blood. And this man's family, who are completely innocent and have suffered more than their lot, would have been the first in the line of sight. Should we condemn an entire people to shame and promise them 1,000 wounds because one of their members committed an unmentionable crime? Neither I nor you have the right to do so. Jacob Levy, Jack the Ripper, is now in the hands of his own people. I have complete faith in Mr. Solomovich and the members of his community who, I remind you, courageously helped us. They took great risks and acted with the most salutary discretion. And, oh yes, it is understood that you cannot chronicle this investigation. It would be best to invent a story that takes us far from London during the sombre period, in pursuit of, let's see, something challenging. A ghostly dog that glows in the night.
Don't be ridiculous, Holmes. But what will happen now?
How's
The police
that
will
possible?
endure a serious setback and a real loss of credibility. And this man?
Well, a few months after the murders have ceased, the police commission, finding themselves at an impasse, will come up with a story to tell, and everyone will vow that they know the secret identity of the killer without having the right to reveal it. As for Jacob Levy, Jack the Ripper, he will be imprisoned by his own people. He will pace like a lion in its cage until the end of his days, haunted by his crimes and his insatiable vengeance, until finally the disease which drove him to kill those poor women will finish its work and make him its final victim.
The murder of Mary J. Kelly was Jack the Ripper's last victim on July 29. Jacob Levy died. Police filed away the case for good without explanation. For the general public, the mystery remained unsolved. I went on a ghost walk around Jack the Ripper's murder places some years back, and sat in the pub where he picked up one of his victims. So yeah, that was Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. The next one will probably be is going to be The Awakened, so it'll be Sherlock Holmes versus Lovecraftian horror. So stay tuned for that. I'm not sure when, but it'll definitely be soon. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later date. Bye!